Greetings, fellow time travelers, and everyone still stuck on Earth. This is another LinuxCollections.com how-to video for your education, information, and entertainment. Let's get rolling. Today we're going to focus on people new to Linux and do the introduction to the command line. The first thing to understand is that this is sometimes called the shell, or the terminal, or prompt, command prompt, bash, command line, console, and possibly other things that have come to indicate the teletype or character-based command interpreter interface to a computer's operating system. We'll cover some common commands for list, print working directory, change directory, make directory, move, copy files, and some text file commands for catalog, head, and tail. Finally, we'll touch on some helpful and useful commands for working with your system. With the interest in Linux growing, we here at LinuxCollections.com often have customers new to Linux, so are starting this series as a way to bridge the gap from a newbie to an accomplished user. Be sure to subscribe, ring the bell, and let us know what else you'd like to see. We are working with Debian 11.5 with an XFCE desktop. To get to the command line, we click on the terminal emulator icon. But here's some super secret Linux stuff. Most distros have 6 TTY or teletype command line type interfaces, with the 7th being the graphical user interface, or what normally is called the desktop. These can be different across distros, but here at XFCE we can use Control-Alt-F1 and that'll get us to the first TTY. Control-Alt-F2 to the second, and so on. And then Control-Alt-F7 will get you back to the desktop. So let's get into our commands. ls is for list, or list current files. And these are just the directories in your user directory. pwd, or print working directory, shows you that we're in the home/user location, which is your home directory for the user. cd is change directory, so we can do cd documents. We do ls and find there's nothing, there's no list, there's no files in the documents. But let's make a folder, so makedir. mkdir, make a directory called temp. Then we cd, or change into the temp directory. Then we can use a command called touch. This will modify or create a file if it's not already there. So now we can make this file ls, and we see that we have that file created, mynew.file. Note there is nothing in this file, it's just an empty file, but it is a file in the file system. We can use mv or move a file to a different file name. So here we can move the mynew file to some other .file. And with ls, we see that that's the only file there, some other .file. Now we can copy cp some other .file to mynew.file. And we now have two files, mynew.file and some other .file. Now let's see what it looks like in the graphical user environment. So if we go to the home/user folder and get into the documents and temp, we see we have mynew.file and some other .file. They're there. So back at the command line, we're going to use my favorite editor, viimproved, and just get some text into one of these files, mynew.file. So this is super speed. We're just getting some text in here so we can show off some of the other commands that are coming up. And this, in fact, is actually a list of all the commands that we're covering today. Once this is saved off, we can now do things like, we can do cat, which would be catalog, or actually type out or show the entire file. And head, which shows then the head of the file, or the first few lines of the file. Tail is the opposite, the last few lines of the file. Who am I is a command that displays the current username of the person logged in at the command line. Apt is a command that can do updates in the Debian world. Now it requires privileges. There is a command called sudo, which if configured will allow you to run one-off commands that only the super user or root or administrative user can run. The su command is used to log on as the super user. Of course, you do need to know the root password. And never forget, with great power comes great responsibility, so you do want to run your commands and then use exit to get back to your normal user. The man command is short for manual, and you can then use it as a way to get help or details on any command. So if you use man pwd, you can learn all about the print working directory or any other command in the Linux system. History will show you your last commands, or the history of all the commands you've typed. Clear can be used to clean your screen. Date will show you the current date. Time and date control gives you a way to set your time and other options for the time and date of your system. System control displays various things about your system, and there's also various commands that can be given it to stop and start services and control aspects of your system. Some examples are system control power off to shut down your system control reboot to restart your system, and then there is the uname, which with -A gives you all information about the system that you're running and the processor, etc. And then of course exit again will exit the command line. So that wraps up this quick introduction to the Linux command line. There are things that can be done on the command line that can be quicker and easier than the graphical interface, so all accomplished users should be familiar and comfortable with it. Hopefully this quick walkthrough will get you started on exploring the power and the flexibility of the original computer-human interface. Thanks for joining us on this journey. This is LinuxCollections.com signing off.